If you are, let me just make a naked plug here. This is not for my program. This is for our media, right? For progressive media in the United States. If you are listening to me on a commercial radio station right now, please start listening carefully to the commercials. And, you know, say you hear a commercial for a local furniture company and you have no intention of buying furniture because you don't need it or you can't afford it, but you heard the ad. Call up that furniture company and say, you know, I don't have the money right now to buy new furniture, but I promise you that I'm going to tell my friends about you, that you support, you know, fill in the blank station, you know, KTNF, WCTP, you name it, right? That you support this station, and I'm going to, you know, and I want to thank you for supporting them. I got to tell you, I mean, I meet these business owners when I go to station events, you know, station owners who have been supporting our progressive stations, and business owners. And typically they're local businesses. Progressive stations tend not to get so much advertising from the big corporations and much more advertising from the small local businesses, which I think is a marvelous thing. And they will tell you if they get 1 or 2 calls a week from somebody, I'm not talking about customers, but from people saying, hey, I heard your ad on, you know, it really makes their day. It makes a big deal. It's a big difference. If you're listening on a non-commercial station, if you're listening on one of our many Pacifica affiliates, from KPFK, the biggest FM station in the United States in Los Angeles, through KBCS up in Seattle, at, you know, just a powerhouse up there, XAFM in Portland, all the way to, you know, our stations in North and South Carolina. I mean, we're all over the country, right? If you're listening to one of them and they're in a pledge drive, help them out. Toss some money their way. If you're watching Free Speech TV, participate in the pledge drive. If you're listening to Sirius XM and you hear advertisers, contact those advertisers and say, thank you for supporting Sirius XM's progressive channel. There are so, I mean, these are just really simple things that you can do with 5 minutes once every couple of weeks that actually have a big impact. And then, of course, make the commitment to tell 5 people you know about the fact that, you know, hey, there is progressive media out there and progressive websites. You know, this morning I tweeted it out. This morning I read just this great piece by George Monbiot over at The Guardian. Now, The Guardian isn't always the, you know, the most progressive publication, but they're quickly becoming my primary mainstream media news source here in the United States, because they do good stories that, you know, and they don't just follow, they don't just chase the latest shiny thing. And so I made a small donation to them this morning, and I tweeted it out. And people are tweeting back at me going, oh, The Guardian, they're not that good. Well, no, I mean, you know, I also support a bunch of other progressive websites, too. But, you know, and I just, you know, today I didn't tweet about that. But, you know, we can all do this. We need progressive media in the United States. We need these issues to be talked about. This is a critical time. I mean, this is a really critical time. And, you know, in a couple of weeks, well, month and a half, almost 2 months, we're going to have a new president, and something's going to start happening. And, you know, I'm not going to make predictions, and I don't want to sound like, you know, Cassandra here. Well, Cassandra's the wrong example because she turned out to be right. But, you know, I don't want to sound like Alex Jones and just lay conspiracy theories on you. But there's a big challenge coming, and we need to get ready for it. And Elizabeth Warren is right, rolling over and playing dead and saying, gee, Mr. Trump, what would you like me to do? I'll be a good Democrat and I'll keep my mouth shut. That's not the way to do it. Now, the other way not to do it is to create the circular firing squad and start saying, okay, let's attack Democrats for either not being pure enough or being too pure. Right? Whether it's my picking on Joe Manchin, which I've done a couple of times, and I actually, I mean, you know, I've met Joe a couple of times. I can't say I know him, but you know, we're neighbors, and I think he's a good guy. I disagree with some of his policies, but thank God, you know, we've got a Democrat from West Virginia in the Democratic coalition, even though I disagree with him on a lot of his positions. And on the other hand, you know, you got Elizabeth Warren and Bernie in the Senate. You got the entire House caucus, you know, progressive caucus. We can support. We just need to be supporting the party and working toward the classic ideals of the Democratic Party. And in the coming days, particularly over the holidays, as kind of the news cycle dials down a little. And because there's some amazing stuff I want to share with you today that is the news cycle. But I just wanted to get this whole media rant off my chest. You know, I want to go back to playing for you, because we've got a lot of new listeners and viewers. Back to playing for you some of my favorite FDR clips and Lyndon Johnson clips to remind us what the Democratic Party really is. And thank God there are those people in the Democratic Party, because in the Republican Party, the Everett Dirksons of the Republican Party, the high integrity, genuine conservatives in the Republican Party who used to actually put America first. I'd even put Barry Goldwater in that category, and I realize it's a very unpopular position for any progressive to take. But Barry Goldwater, Everett Dirksen, those guys are dead and gone. The Republican Party is filled with shills for billionaires and oil companies, period.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann program. Call 202-808-9925.
And this is going to get where it's getting really interesting, because Trump came in without that baggage, but he's filling his cabinet with it, which is a really bad sign.